Alright, so welcome everybody. This is going to be game number 1 in a best of 3, I believe, between Classicpro and Jordan. This is... someone please confirm it's a best of 3 and not a best of 5. But we're going to have Jordan playing as Ethiopians in red on the south. To the north, it's going to be Classicpro in yellow as Saracens. Classicpro did beat Villes the last qualifiers, but then lost to Winchester. Jordan did lose to Daniel in the previous qualifiers, and now he's gonna have a tough opponent here. Ethiopians for a straight archer opening. Same thing here for Classicpro with Saracens. And that is... what is that? Do we have a trapped villager or something? Or did my game just freak out? I don't see... Like, it could be a drop. So, let's go back and let's see what's up. I will try coming back into this game. Maybe it's just my game freaking out. Or maybe it's indeed a drop. If that's a drop, we'll soon see. But yeah, the thing is that you can do a lot of things with Saracens, so I'm not necessarily against it. The problem is that the opponent, Ethiopians, can just always match the archer numbers. And it seems like it was just my game dropping. Because now it seems to work, right? Yeah, we're advancing deeper in the game now, so it seems like my game dropped. Interesting, that sometimes happens, but it's quite rare. Anyways, so Classicpro is playing archers. Normally, I'm a big fan of the Saracens fast castle archer plays here with the market. But against Ethiopians, it's a bit tricky because in feudal age you might get pushed by archers. And as things stand, we might see Jordan buying himself up as well. So Jordan probably knows, hey, my opponent is playing pretty much fast castle archers selling stone. You can see that stone is being sold. And at 37-ish villagers, Classicpro is gonna click up. This is classic 1 archer range crossbowman, or fast crossbowman with Saracens. This is very, very traditional Empire Wars build, and it's super aggressive. It can work out nicely if your opponent cannot match it, but Jordan can match it, and that's actually pretty important. That Jordan knows that this is happening, so all he's gonna do is get a market up and sell his stone as well. If he does that, when he does that, he's gonna be able to go up and pretty much have the same castle age time as the opponent. And here's the problem with Saracens. Their archers are great at getting through walls, and they're also great at beating their opponent into castle age. So you would have crossbows before your opponent actually has crossbows. This archer is trapped here, by the way. That's quite unlucky for Classicpro. The problem, however, is that if both players reach castle age at the same time and both have crossbows, then the Ethiopian crossbows will just be far better than the crossbows of Saracens. And that's going to be a problem that needs to be solved for Classicpro. So Classicpro will be fully walled, going fast ballistics. Jordan going the exact same thing, but if they're doing the exact same archer build, the Ethiopians will just be like miles better than the Saracens. So, Jordan playing 1 TC over here. We will have 1 TC as well for Classicpro. The 1 TC versus 1 TC play is actually benefiting Classicpro here. Especially considering that he even has horse colors, so his eco is a little bit more efficient, and he's going triple range crossbows. So he wants to seal the deal in castle age. Jordan, however, it's Ethiopian crossbows, man. Ethiopian crossbows will eat Saracen crossbows, and this is looking pretty ugly for Classicpro over here. Jordan is looking strong. Like, Jordan really wants to qualify, especially now that we have seen that Nila was able to beat Hart. Jordan qualifying, like, Nili is actually not super far away from having a shot at qualifying. Tato and Viper are already in the main event, so is Doubt. So, really, Jordan wants his shot to qualify as well. Classicpro's defense here is actually not so great because Jordan's got the hill, but with Micro he was able to outmaneuver those units, and at the end of the day, we're gonna have a win here from Classicpro. Villager count is still even, and now it's triple range archers from Classicpro, so Jordan has to watch out, because Classicpro could start punishing him, and Saracens can snowball games very fast. It's somewhat surprising that Classicpro isn't sending villagers to mine stone, because you could actually mine stone and sell it for gold. He's just full on mining gold and buying resources, which is understandable, but he needs to, I think, mine some stone and sell it as well. That could actually make his eco a little bit more efficient. Anyways, that was, I think, an uphill fight for him for the most time for Classicpro, and that was way too many crossbows lost over here. That's just not great when you are supposed to have a stronger, well, you are not really gonna have a stronger eco with Saracens, so you are pretty much forced to push and kill with your units. That's basically the story. Anyways, there is a mangonel out, and one good mangonel shot could turn things around pretty fast. Jordan's gonna hold the hill. Jordan is now 2 TC, so he's getting a villager lead for himself. It is a 9 villagers lead. This crossbow is gonna deny this wood line, which is a beautiful thing for Jordan over there. And for now, Jordan splitting away from the first mangonel shot, missing the second split. And there's also mangonel that was, I think, picked off by Classicpro. Classicpro pushing with 2 mangonels over here. He's behind by 12 villagers, so clock is ticking pretty badly for him. But that's a 1-for-0 for Classicpro. And suddenly, Classicpro is gonna have a hill in front of Jordan's base. Remember, this is the same guy that beat Vilas, and one of the things Classicpro did when he was beating Vilas is just having an insane macro. And that's exactly what we're seeing here, and Saracen crossbows could try melting that siege workshop as well. That's a nice hit over there from Jordan, but Classicpro is going to destroy that siege workshop. Jordan's going to have to rebuild that, and Saracen crossbows with heal advantage, supported by mangonels with heal advantage, Jordan is forced to make elite skirms. The problem with elite skirms is that they're not great against mangonels. Jordan has a pretty comfy 16 villagers lead, but it's 3 mangonels in his face on a hill, and it looks like Jordan is going to do a counterattack for the time being. Mangonels still trying to just finish off the ranges, and now we're live with this game, so the speed of this one is actually going to be live now as well. Alright, so Jordan will try to save these archer ranges, but it's going to be awfully hard, and if Classicpro can take down 2 ranges here, that's actually something I would classify as a massive advantage for him, because that's going to limit Jordan's production quite massively. And Classicpro leaving a hole on his walls, that could be a little bit disastrous, but I think 1 mangonel is good enough to defend against those skirms. I'm not saying that Jordan is winning here. In fact, Jordan might be losing. So another range goes down. What is Jordan going to do against this mangonel push? This hill is killing him quite hard, because that hill advantage for Classicpro is huge, and Jordan's gonna have to rebuild all those archer ranges. This is exactly what you want when you're playing Saracens. Being able to push and punish with an aggressive play. Jordan, he's making a mangonel on that siege workshop. Classicpro sees the siege workshop, so he should be prepared that there could be mangonels coming his way. Another range comes in here for Jordan, and he's getting more and more skirms out. That's going to end up being a 1-for-0 once again for Classicpro. Jordan is getting kind of destroyed in these fights right now. Classicpro is going to bring the weak mangonel to fire down hills, misses the shot with that one right now, gets another shot out that also misses, but once again a 1-for-0 in the favor of Classicpro. And not gonna lie, the last couple of minutes was actually a disaster for Jordan. He's losing units left and right. He's losing units left and right. That finally is a good shot for Jordan, but he's being put into a much worse situation. In fact, his gold income is pretty much getting crippled here with mangonels shelling that gold mine. And as I said, Classicpro reminds me of a weaker version of Leary. From what I've seen from him against Vilas, he's very similar to Winchester in many playstyles because they practice a lot together, but he reminds me a lot to Leary as well in terms of gameplay speed. And Classicpro says, get out of my qualifier, I'm going to drop a castle in your face. Obviously those heals aren't helping, but that doesn't change the fact that the micro from Classicpro is pretty decent. And where is that castle I just compared Classicpro to Leary, and then he manganos his own villagers that were trying to make a castle. Counter castle is coming in here for Jordan, and Jordan is actually going to make a counter attack with Elite Skirms. Classicpro is behind by 14 villagers. He's got a lot of wood lines at the back to work with. So it's not like he has to worry about this aggression that much. And that's a Doubt castle! Apparently Jordan and Doubt have been practicing a lot together, because that castle ain't going up, my friends. That is not going up, and that's a TC dead. And look at that, Saracen crossbows will get through those houses very, very fast. So Jordan's gold miners could be exposed. And where is Jordan's gold mines at? He's got one gold mine over here. This is gone. This is gone. Jordan, 9 villagers ahead, but he's without... Well, he has gold income at the back right now, but that's going to run out very soon. And he's going to be losing TCs here. Exactly what the Saracen player wants. A lot of idols as well for Jordan. There is a counterattack coming in here. Once again, Classicpro brings in the mangonel. And remember, this is the same guy that did beat Vilas, so he is kind of an unknown person right now in competitive Age of Empires, but that doesn't mean that Jordan is gonna have an easy time here. In fact, it seems like Jordan's gonna have a hard time in this best of 3. Jordan trying to get a castle up here now to pretty much protect the back of his base, but soon Jordan could have trouble accessing wood, because the majority of his wood income is going to be coming from this wood line, and those will run out very, very soon. And let's see what Jordan is up to. He's trying to get a counter raid going on here with the Elite Skirms. By the way, if you're around Nerfox, I would appreciate if you confirm if this is a best of 3 or a best of 5. Because that's actually an important piece of information. As far as I know, this round is still a best of 3, but I need a confirmation on that. Anyways, it looks like Jordan wants to start adding cavalry here with Ethiopians, but that's not really a great thing. Ethiopian cavalry isn't magnificent by any means, but it's going to be good to deal with the mangonels, and that's the key thing here. Anyways, I feel like the push from Classicpro is stalling out a little bit, and he's just waiting for another castle to be dropped. But at this point, getting in, like buying yourself up into Imperial would actually make more sense, and that's actually what Classicpro is about to do. So here's a knight that will try to pick off the mangonels. Let's see if Classicpro can get a good ground attack in. Misses the shot with both. That's actually a wasted mangonel over there. In fact, that's 2 wasted mangonels from Classicpro. But Jordan's gonna lose some skirms here on the right side. And as I said, Classicpro is waiting until he can click up into Imperial. That's the whole plan here. Another knight is coming in. Classicpro trying to repair the mangonel, but that's not gonna happen. And Classicpro is gonna need something to defend against those knights, because one thing that Classicpro never really had is army numbers. He just doesn't have a lot of crossbows out there. But honestly, a few Mamelukes might actually make sense. Classicpro making a huge mistake here. That is a wide open base. That's like a wide open base, ladies and gentlemen, and the Elite Skirms will be having a very, very fun time cleaning up those crossbows. Nice quick force from Classicpro over there. It's best of 3, okay, thank you for that info. We also have an inefficient fight over here for Classicpro. He's trying to imp, but he's under heavy pressure, so he's gonna have to delay those plans for the time being. This is actually a good push from Jordan. Jordan's getting stables up on the right side. This is a very good series so far. And the same thing here, like, Classicpro was relying on mangonel defense for so long, but he can't actually do that anymore, because knights are on the field now for Jordan. Those knights aren't amazing by any means, but knight and skirm might still work out nicely over here. Classicpro scrambling to get that building up. He could click into Imperial, which... it's so hard. Jordan is getting up a castle in the face of Classicpro here, and I think that castle is actually gonna go up. And if you look at the map, you see more and more reds swarming. 34 military compared to just 16, and the unit composition is better as well. Classicpro falling apart over here apparently. He desperately tries to imp, but imp into what? It's going to take 4 minutes until the Imperial Age advantage is going to show in anything. If he gets to like 20 Arbalasts with Imperial Age, he might still save the game here for himself. But he is under heavy, heavy pressure here. That being said, that Imperial Age could still show. He's behind by 13 villagers, but a lot of idols are there. The right side is going to be breached pretty soon. And it's just an awful lot of idle time right now for Classicpro. So, pretty much his only hope right now is that he can get to Imperial, get to Arbs, because Arbalasts would melt everything that Jordan has. Especially Saracen Arbs. they would just walk all the way in here, and they would melt buildings in 5 seconds, especially with the support of Trebs. But there is random elite skirms inside the eco of Classicpro. Now, Classicpro does something that I think is a good decision and should have happened a little bit earlier. Adds his own knights, or yeah, he's gonna add his own knights. And he should just try to pick those mangonels off with his own knights. Same thing for the skirms. It's not like Jordan has a lot of knights to deal with those knights coming from Classicpro, so that's completely understandable if he's doing that. 1.5 minutes until Imperial for Classicpro over here. Get some forward ranges up. As I said, he practices a lot with Winchester, so he really knows how to play massy games. I am fairly certain that he's not going to tap out anytime soon. He will try swinging this back into his favor with the Imperial, and honestly, Jordan is not close to Imp. So this might still be winnable for Classicpro here. He's under heavy pressure and his game is very, very massy, but he might actually end up turtling this out until he can actually get to Imp. That's gonna be 20 orbs, and the orbs would melt everything that Jordan has here, including the elite skirms. And then Classicpro could actually get some orbs out here as well. He would actually make a trap here, and the trap would start taking down Siege Workshop, TC over here, and then go for that castle. Crossbows. We'll pick off those knights over there. For now, Mangonel will be safe, and here is Classicpro up in Imperial. Can he afford the upgrades though? That's a good question. He's got 0 on gold. He's getting Bracer but no Arbalest. In that case, this is not so great for Classicpro because he needs Arbalest and Bracer to do anything with. Jordan is off from gold, which is something we shouldn't forget. Jordan has run out of gold completely at the back of his base. This one is not something that he's mining, and this one is something that he has lost. Knight coming in here to try and finish off that Mangonel. The Mangonel should be going in the other direction to close the distance to the crossbows so the crossbows can help. Guard Tower coming in for Jordan, interestingly. What is this game? This game is so massy, and now Classicpro will kind of go all in here with this blob of crossbows. He will probably try getting those into Arbalests, and it looks like he's just gonna try and get over here. He's got a safe castle over there, and he will try to just evacuate his base into the safety of Jordan's base. And now he's just going on and pushing this side of Jordan's base. He knows that the skirms are coming over there. Oh, this is so massy. Look at all this carnage that's inside the base of Classicpro. His eco is very, very weak now. But if he was actually able to squeeze out Arb with Bracer, he already has Bracer on these guys, he should be able to start devastating Jordan's base here. These guys will melt buildings very fast. And as I said, Traps will also help out quite immensely. And Classicpro is gonna say, my gold now. He's actually gonna go for that. The thing is that Classicpro's starting eco is getting killed, so this could actually end up being a base trade scenario. Jordan's got a lot of idols here as well. Both players have an insanely massy economy. But one thing is different. Right now, Classicpro has access to gold. Jordan does not. Jordan trying to get a castle up over here on the left side to deny Classicpro from that gold deposit. There is still an awful lot of mess inside the base of Classicpro. But here he comes, still no Arbalest from him, and Jordan is actually doing a guard tower defense against the crossbows. That's actually reasonable. Classicpro cannot actually engage that one. Guard towers are too strong. Here, instead, Trebs should start moving up and knocking down the buildings. Shodel Warriors from Jordan once again, and Classicpro's ecos. Classicpro is dying faster than Jordan is. That's basically the story here. So, like, Classicpro is doing the right things, but he just died faster than Jordan did. That's basically, he never had an answer to the elite skirm play. And despite the fact that Jordan is off from gold, he's just killing too many villagers from Classicpro now, and Mangonel's elite skirms are in. Jordan's got this. But not gonna lie, this wasn't, like, this actually got scary for Jordan. When he got a castle in his face like that, it seemed like he's about to lose the game. So, it pretty much was a comeback from Jordan at this point, and that was partially carried by the fact that Ethiopians are still a lot more efficient economy and civilization than Saracens are, so Saracens really have to rely on their market to be efficient. And at this point, it's 73 pop against 180, so Jordan's got this. But this could have been a lot more dangerous for Jordan. Like, seriously. His base was breached pretty hard, he was losing TCs, he got out microed pretty hard by Mangonel, so... Oh, look at that. Classicpro even trying to wall in that trebuchet. Look at that. He's actually stonewalling in the trap, so the shoulder warriors can't pick it off. He still believes he has a chance, but if he just looks at the pop, he's going to acknowledge that no, this is over. This is just over. But, not gonna lie, if Classicpro plays on the same level and the Jordan does the same thing, there is a chance Classicpro is going to surprise Jordan, because this game wasn't completely hopeless from Classicpro by any means. So, yeah, at this point it's 70 pop against 177. It's 100 pop advantage. I respect Classicpro for trying to make this happen, but this is not gonna happen, especially with the Mangonel coming out. Jordan takes game number 1. In what was actually a winnable game for Classicpro. He is still probably he is definitely the weaker player of the two, but Classicpro did surprise Vilas in last week's qualifiers, and this wasn't that dominant from Jordan. In fact, there were many moments where I thought Jordan is dead. Like, I think that if Jordan doesn't push Classicpro on the left side with those knights and skirms in time, Jordan would have been dead to Arbs. So, much better eco, obviously. Much better village count, but this push is what started killing Classicpro. At some point, Classicpro had the advantage, like here. But then, it's just a slow grind down, and as I said, Classicpro was dying faster than Jordan was. Okay. Didn't Classicpro overinvest into Mangonels? Not necessarily. Like, the thing is that, yeah, 2 is enough to deal with the Mangonels and skirms of the skirms of the opponent, but you always have to account for the fact that your opponent is going to show up with Mangonels and you will lose your own Mangonels. So if you have 3 Mangonels, you will be able to trade 1 for 1 against the opponent's Mangonel, and then you still have 2. If you just have 2 Mangonels, then you will lose 1 and boom, suddenly you only have 1 Mangonel. So it actually makes sense to keep adding Mangonels. I feel like the problem was that he had no answer to the skirms. If he was, if he got some knights out on the field, this could have been a completely different game, because the skirms would have struggled against knights and he would have actually been able to defend against that push on the left side, but he lost the Mangonels to the knights. He tried to hold on against the skirmisher aggression with Mangonels only, but in the moment that Jordan made 2 knights, those Mangonels were defenseless, and that was it. Alright. So game number 2 is coming up here. This is a best of 3. And the winner of this one would likely match up with Bhakti or White Court, which is a winnable game for both of these players, and they would get to the deciders. Honestly, if Jordan beats Classicpro here, he's gonna have a reasonable chance of qualifying to the main event. So this is probably one of the better chances of Jordan to get there. Last week he lost to... Who did he lose to? He lost to Daniel. Alright, so game number 2 coming up pretty soon. After this series, I'm not sure what we are going to cast. Maybe Slam versus Dragonstar, or Vivi versus Ryut seems like a good one. And Nili could actually get licks in the next round. We'll see what's still available when we get there. But yeah, this is the 5th round. This is round of 32s. Today we'll be playing until round of 16s, and tomorrow, without overlaps, we'll have the round of or the quarterfinal games. So today we have overlaps with the games, as it is the case for Red Bull qualifiers all the time. Tomorrow we will have no overlaps. So the decider games will actually be streamed right after each other. We don't know the exact schedule of it, obviously. So we're going to Haboob. Remember at Classicpro, when he played against Vilas in last week, Classicpro's home map was Haboob, and Classicpro actually won that game in the decider game. So that's actually a reasonable position to be in for him. Haboob, he's gonna have a nice chance of winning against Jordan. Let's see what we got. And we got a Magyar mirror, apparently. So we're gonna have Jordan on the left side as Magyars in red, right side is Classicpro as yellow in Magyars as well. And the map is called Haboob. We're gonna have a stable opening for Jordan and a stable opening as well for Classicpro. So this is gonna be all about execution and macro over here. And this is gonna be an interesting one, to be honest. Classicpro, I like that he's sending out vultures to hunt immediately. Jordan doing the exact same thing. That's something that you have to do until your deer gets attacked. It's actually a good idea to just send the vultures out, get as much food as you can from the hunt. So, Magyar Scout Wars, we're gonna have Wars up for Classicpro on his wood line. Jordan isn't walling his own wood line. So, here comes the defensive spearman from Jordan, but that stable is idle. Jordan's stable is idle for quite a while. What is happening? He's getting double bid-axe and horse collars, so he's prioritizing eco upgrades over actual scout numbers. He could get punished for this because Classicpro is already getting scout number 3 up. And it looks like Jordan is now going to wall his wood line as well. Classicpro is without any eco upgrades right now. So, especially dropping 3 or 4 farms like that, this is going to hurt. It is in fact a best of 3? Yes, it is. It is a best of 3. So Classicpro should be getting eco upgrades now. He's going full on aggro, by the way. Like, just spamming scouts, but yeah, cancel the scout, get eco upgrades. Because you are going to fall behind if you don't actually get eco upgrades over here. And Classicpro needs to win this game in order to win, or have a chance at even winning this series. I like that he's pretty much walling off the middle. That's kind of limiting the movement of Jordan coming from the middle. And let's see what Classicpro can achieve with these scouts over here. They're just one spearman. 3 scouts, especially with good micro, can jump that spearman. Yeah, take the hill, and you can kill that spear. And this would be a perfect find for Jordan, or for Classicpro. He can actually snap that spear and then go for it for the villagers on the hunt. Let's see what we have on the berries. We have a defensive spearman from Classicpro. Classicpro is going to lose the spearman, and those villagers on the berries are dangerously exposed. But so are the villagers of Jordan. That's actually... Why is Classicpro leaving? He could kill 2 villagers, but Classicpro is leaving. He could kill villagers with those scouts. That's so bad as a decision. Oh man. And now he allows Jordan to reinforce this place. The difference between this raid over here and this raid over here was that Jordan actually committed to killing villagers and Classicpro didn't. So, that's a nice raid coming in here as well from Jordan. That villager carries a lot of food, so you don't really want to lose that. And that's minus 35 food as well that was carried on that villager, which also matters quite a lot. It looks like Classicpro will try attacking the hunt once again, but that's not going to happen. There is scouts defending. And it seems like Classicpro is trying to play aggressive, but the thing is that as we are going to have a nice little trap over here from Classicpro. He tried. So, let's see. No bloodlines coming from either player just yet. Jordan had the eco upgrades up faster, so I think he's going to have a slight little eco advantage. And now bloodlines is queued up for Classicpro, so he wants to go heavy on feudal, but he has to be aggressive then, because if he's playing defensive or slow, what this is going to result in is Jordan beating him into Castle Age, and if Jordan beats him into Castle Age, the Knights will just overrun Classicpro. I like that Classicpro is limiting the surface area where he could be attacked. Like, walling this one off here makes a lot of sense. You could wall this one here as well. You can wall here, and this would limit the movement of Jordan. You can't fully wall yourself on this map, but you can somewhat limit the movement of the opponent, and that already gives you a nice little advantage. Jordan already has bloodlines on those scouts, so this is a super dangerous push here from Jordan, but so it is from a Classic Pro. There is no overchops on the wood line for the time being, and there is quite a lot of defensive spearmen back for both players. Scaleboarding on the way as well for Jordan, so he's gonna have fully upgraded Feudal Age scouts over here. Jordan waiting for the opportunity to find an angle, but look at that, that's actually beautiful walls from Classic Pro. I really like that he's walling himself up like this. That's actually super smart, and honestly, Classic Pro could have tried committing to this one, going for this Berry Vultures on the right side, and this is walled off. Yep, Jordan is not gonna get through here. And that's the difference between the two players. I feel like there is a lot more raiding surface available for Classic Pro. Jordan trying to bash his way through these walls. Classic Pro is just going to add some walls behind. He should have no trouble defending against this one, but he needs to start taking fights here. He's got +1/+1, and Jordan is getting closer to Castle Age. Why is Jordan only one villager ahead? Because Jordan had more TC idle time, probably. Spearmen are coming in here. Jordan's gonna have to disengage from this one, but Classic Pro is investing too much into scouts here if he isn't not doing damage. Look at that. Jordan stopped making scouts. Classic Pro is over-investing into scouts here. He needs to push with these guys, otherwise he's gonna be beaten to Castle Age pretty hard here. And if he gets beaten to Castle Age, Jordan's gonna kill him with knights. So Classic Pro has like 2 minutes here to actually do damage with these scouts. Otherwise, this investment isn't worth it. And I feel like Triple Stables is a huge over-investment here. Like a massive one. He's actually going up with a market, which makes some sense, but he still needs to be a lot more aggressive. Like, with that many Bloodline scouts, you might as well jump some of those spearmen. But he's playing too passive, and it's not like Jordan is doing that much either, but Jordan has invested less into those scouts, and that matters quite a lot, because Jordan is up, Classic Pro isn't. And that's a huge difference between the two players right now. Scale mail on the way for Jordan, so he's actually going to get the pikeman potentially. Classic Pro could fight this. And yes, exactly, this is what he has to do if he has the spear or scout numbers. Was this efficient? No. But now, he's got all the freedom in the world to start raiding Jordan's food eco, and this is exactly what he needs to do. Jordan also losing some of his scouts over here on the other side, and Classic Pro clicks up. As I said, the key thing here is that now Classic Pro needs to get something out of those scouts, like idle time on Jordan's gold mine, and don't be afraid of one spearman. So just try to kill villas. At this point, your Feudal Age cavalry isn't going to be any more useful, and you still have a bunch of leftover scouts, so you might as well just go try to push the berries. Berries will actually be finished just now. Oh, Jordan stops. That was perfect perception by Jordan. Stop taking the berries before one of the berries would have actually run out. If he actually picks that berry, Classic Pro can run in and kill him. Here, best thing Classic Pro can probably do is take this fight against the scouts. Both players are up, but military numbers better for Classic Pro. The problem is that Jordan's gonna have knights out very soon. So, Classic Pro is gonna have to make some spearmen to compensate for that. And try to keep raiding Jordan. Jordan has 20 on foot, Classic Pro 23. And remember that Jordan's gold mine was idle for quite a while. So, in fact, these two villagers will not be able to drop off gold. Right? Actually, they do. There is a path here. But Jordan's gold mine is sort of inefficient. And it looks like we're going to have the knights out. Classic Pro isn't that much behind it. He's got triple stables. Jordan's got triple stables as well. But I'm not sure if Jordan can actually afford making triple stable knights. He doesn't have the gold for it right now. It's 83 gold. Classic Pro actually has a lot more gold in the bank. So, triple stable knights without a problem. And prioritizes chain mail. That's interesting. Instead of chain barding. Because Jordan already has chain barding and you would assume that you buff your knights first. But no. Classic Pro says, it's pikeman time. Jordan will try to flank with a knight, but that's not really going to happen. And we're going to have a good fight here for Classic Pro. He's got spearmen supporting, soon to be pikemen as well. Jordan even gets light cav upgrade for himself for a little bit of added effect. But the pikemen, I feel like we'll have no trouble dealing with that one. Classic Pro dropping TC number 2 on the gold. Jordan, TC number 2 on the gold as well. So, Why not light cav upgrade before first night? Here in this case, I could understand light cav upgrade because there is a lot of scouts on the field. But the thing is that I feel like a knight is still giving you a little bit more edge than like 5 light cav will in early on. It's debatable. It depends on how many scouts you have. I think if you have like 5 scouts with relatively good HP, it's worth it to go for light cav first. If you have less, like right now, for example, Jordan's light cav is so weak that I don't think that this light cav was worth it. For Classic Pro, it would have been worth it because it's 10 cavalry still. But anyways, it's so far complete mirror games. Jordan's got 5 villagers lead, by the way, but he doesn't have wheelbarrows, so that's only 3 in reality. But he also has Boso. Military numbers are much, much better for Classic Pro, though. He's got +2/+2 on the pikemen, but only +1 defense on his knights. He's not actually going for the second defense upgrade on his knights, which is going to hurt a little bit. So far, the two players are pretty much just dancing around. And now Classic Pro is on 3 TCs. Jordan is playing on 2 only. Remember, this is the map where Classic Pro actually did beat Vilas in a decider game. That's a beautiful find from Classic Pro. He can poke down that monk with the pikeman and prevent the knights from getting converted. So, we are gonna have a third TC coming in here for Jordan as well. Classic Pro takes over in villager count by a massive margin. 63 to 58, and he also has horse collar wheelbarrow. And that's huge. And now Jordan moves away. Jordan moves away with his cavalry, and he's not noticing this. What is this? Jordan, are you sure you want to do this? This is very dangerous for Jordan. I mean, he's got pikemen here defending, and he's gonna try to counterattack and do the exact same thing to Classic Pro. But I love how Classic Pro is starting to take wood from the middle, because that's a little bit safer. Over here, Jordan looping around. Let's see if Classic Pro notices that the cavalry is missing from Jordan's army comp here. Light cav trying to get some snipes on the monks. A lot of pikemen in here. Not necessarily a great fight for Classic Pro. And now the knights are arriving for Jordan. I feel like this is a good move from Jordan. Pretty much using the fact that I think Classic Pro was playing a little bit greedy here, trying to force a fight no matter what. And this isn't necessarily a good fight for Classic Pro. He's losing quite a lot of cavalry in the process. And in the meanwhile, Jordan is now pushing Classic Pro's wood line. Classic Pro not noticing. Oh boy, this might be the game-losing move here for Classic Pro. He was completely even in a game against Jordan up until this point. But guess what? He's also winning his own fight at Jordan's econ. There's a difference. He's actually able to hit all of the food eco of Jordan, which would cripple the knight production from Jordan in a second. Whereas not all of the wood lines have been breached from Classic Pro, and Classic Pro still has wood income. Plus, wood income isn't as urgent as food income. Like, you need to have food income to make sure that you can produce knights. Wood income is not so important. Like, if you have 15 seconds of wood income outage, it's not going to be the end of the world. That being said, Classic Pro is possessing a 16 villagers lead right now, just gets +2 armor. It would have been very helpful to get +2 armor before diving beneath the TCs, but it's only 14 villagers on foot for Jordan and 30 for Classic Pro. And the food eco matters a lot because Jordan is not going to be able to get more knights out. See, all 3 stables are idle for Jordan. Classic Pro, same thing, kind of, but Jordan is losing all those knights, and replenishing them is going to be much harder when you have way less food eco than your opponent. Beautiful quick walls by Classic Pro. In fact, it's pretty much a trap here to the knights. All the knights from Jordan are going down here, and in the meanwhile, you still have quite a lot of knights on the field for Classic Pro. And Classic Pro, he's mining stone as well, so I wonder if he wants a forward castle at some point. At this point, both players are at 3 TCs, but you got 85 villagers for Classic Pro, and this is why I compared this guy to Leary in many, many cases. His macro is actually very good behind this one. And this is a micro-heavy map. You have to micro your cavalry a lot. Same thing for your pikemen. And his macro behind it is very, very good. Obviously, he's not as good as a player as Leary, but in terms of playstyle, he reminds me of Leary, like a weaker version of Leary. That Boso is a little bit late from Classic Pro, but he possesses not less than 23 villagers lead. That's enormous. That's huge. So what now for Classic Pro? The thing is that Jordan is getting more and more pikemen on the field. I think what Classic Pro wants to do is indeed 15 on stone. He knows that he has the advantage. Just press on with pikemen. You're going to drop a castle in the face of Jordan here and kill his food eco. That's the plan. If you can do that, Jordan's food eco will be crippled so much that he will never be able to match your army numbers anymore. What do you think about for CA or crossbow switch with the amount of paladins? Takes too much time and resources. It's better to ride the bus of pikemen and knights and just drop a castle in the face of your opponent. Like here, this is also an even better spot maybe, because this is going to destroy the stables, or at least deny the stables from actually doing anything useful. And by the way, Jordan was missing +2 defense on his infantry the whole time, whereas Classic Pro does have that. So Classic Pro, Jordan is going to have a counterattack here, but I don't think it's going to inflict a lot of damage. Classic Pro, playing on 3 TCs, he's got 105 villagers, Jordan at 78, and this castle is actually going to go up here, even though a few villagers will be killed during the process, but it's not a big deal, and this is what I was talking about. Jordan's going to have to delete all these farms, and that's going to hit his food eco really badly. Like, in fact, Classic Pro is close to clicking into Imperial here, which is something I don't like, because I think that this map is so Castle Age heavy that you just need to keep making units in Castle Age instead of trying to imp. But Imperial Age coming in here for Classic Pro. And now he's going to start mining stone once again, drop another castle, and Jordan will be busy locating his food eco. He's got 26 on food compared to 41 on food, and that's the difference. And now there is fletching for that castle. Some Magyar Hussar will be added. Another castle in the face of Jordan. In the face of Jordan, ladies and gentlemen. That's right on Jordan's biggest gold mine. And it's not like Jordan can actually stop it. Jordan is going to make a counter castle. But I don't think Classic Pro needed to bail out on that, to be honest. I don't think that was needed. He was probably afraid that he cannot finish that castle because Jordan's going to pull like 30 villas to finish that. But honestly, he could have actually gotten away with that. I think he can actually get that castle up. Doesn't really matter because Jordan is not close to Imperial and Classic Pro is. So Classic Pro is going to be able to start making traps. Jordan 18 on stone as well. And Classic Pro could make a castle here, for example. Indeed, here's the other castle, which would once again deny a lot of farming space from Jordan. And that is key because that way you cripple your opponent's food eco, which pretty much shatters his chances of coming back in here. And now there is Cav Archers from Classic Pro coming in. Botkin Arrow is there. No ballistics and no tumbling just yet. But military numbers, relatively close, but that imp timing is going to be crazy for Classic Pro. And also, as I said, Castle being able to destroy the stables is also helpful because Jordan's production is going to have to be replaced as well. So, Jordan trying to get Cav Archers out, or it could be Elite Skirms, honestly. Why is this lagging so hard? So, Jordan sees the Archer ranges, he probably knows it's Cav Archer switch, so he might think about getting Elite Skirms out, but I don't think that he understands that Classic Pro is indeed an imp. And Jordan, seeing the imp, taps out. Classic Pro is just a beast on Haboob. Like, he's playing this map so well. And as I said, this is not going to be an easy matchup for Jordan by any means. This is actually going to be a pretty tough matchup for Jordan. And we will go into the decider game. Luckily for Jordan, the decider game will be on his home map. And honestly, I have a feeling that's going to be Cattails. Because we don't know how good Classic Pro is on water maps or hybrid maps. So Cattails would make a lot of sense for Jordan. Way better eco, but it's a matter of just being able to kill the villas from Jordan. That Classic Pro never really lost a lot of villas. Jordan lost... Actually, no. Look at this. It's just macro then. This is just full-on macro. Because Classic Pro lost 28 villagers, only killed 8. So it's not like he destroyed Jordan's eco. No. It's just a matter of... He had a better macro, and just outboomed his opponent. Consistently kept producing villagers and didn't take any bad fights. And we got Digaroko with a resub. Thank you so much. Welcome back for half a year. So, game number 2 is in the hands of Classicpro. And yes, indeed, Jordan is going to need some Nilly energies here if he wants to get to the next round. Previous qualifiers, he lost to Daniel. And now, he's even in score with Classicpro. And we know that Classicpro practiced a lot with Winchester. So, if Classicpro can clean up his gameplay, he's gonna be a factor to deal with, I believe. The opponent is going to match up against Back T, by the way. So whoever wins this is gonna be against the Back T, which is gonna be a tough one to handle. Appears that Slam has defeated Dragonstar. Slam is against Valas in the 6th round. That's actually pretty good for him. I mean, Slam should be dominating Valas, and here's the funny thing. If Slam beats Valas, which is something that I expect to happen, to be honest, because Slam is supposed to be a better player overall, then Slam would actually play against the player that comes from this part of the bracket. So technically, a Slam versus Jordan decider can actually happen. That would be surprising. So give me a moment, and we will jump into the next game. Alright, so indeed, a Slam versus Jordan decider could happen, but Jordan needs to beat Classicpro first and then beat Bacti. But a Slam versus Jordan decider would be very, very, very interesting, let's say. And also, Nilly is waiting his opponent, which might actually end up being Lix. So no games just yet. We're waiting until Jordan and Classicpro set up the next game. This is already the 5th round. Is it the 5th round? Yes, this is the 5th round, and 6th round will be starting relatively soon over here once people are finishing with the 5th round. 6th round is the last round that we are going to be playing today, so we're getting close to the end of today's stream, probably 2 or 3 more hours. You heard MBL say in a second game, are there resources up on this? I haven't played this map before. Yeah, honestly, MBL is gonna have a relatively easy bracket. Like, if he beats Sorakuma, right now the score is 1-1, he would get Brew or Kaswa, and the decider game would be against Bars or Sito. So he is not getting any expert players against him. He's getting high-level players, but he's not getting players like Bacti or Slam or Jordan or Vivi, Ryut. So I guess MBL could qualify here because he's just better as a player than the majority of the players he would be matched up against. But we also have to add that he actually got some lucky brackets, let's say. I am actually... please don't spoil on the chat because some people might not wanna see that. But I know the result of MBL versus for MBL series. I keep an eye out on the brackets all the time because I'm monitoring which games to cast. When will you have her? What? Hera versus Yo on YouTube. Probably tomorrow. Hera versus Yo, the show match that I casted will probably be tomorrow. Grim Gerbil, thank you so much for a resub as well. 4 months of support. I greatly appreciate it as well. And yeah, thank you so much. Alright, where is the final game? I'm missing Jordan. Slam versus Valas will start in 7 minutes. We'll see if we actually cast that. And Vilas will be playing their 6th round game tomorrow, Sunday, 10:30 GMT. That's super early for me. But YOLO, we'll actually go for that. I will cast Vilas versus CL over there. So, Vilas versus CL is tomorrow, 10:30 GMT. Boy, that's gonna be a long day. It's gonna be a very, very long day. I don't even know how I'm gonna do that because I don't think they need 2.5 hours. For a series like this, even a best of 5. Although if it goes to 5 games, it could be 2.5 hours. We'll see, but I will definitely cast that. That's going to be a long day, man. Like a very long day. Vilas versus CL. It's a 6th round game, and the winner of that would match up against Bad Boy or Miguel or Vodka. Alright. So... we're just waiting for the players to get going. I don't know why. I don't think they're in game just yet. Yes, they are setting up the game right now, and we're going to cattails, so I was right about my prediction. I was totally right about my prediction. Because that's basically what seems to be the reasonable thing. That why would you actually go for a land map where you see that Classicpro can be strong when you can go for a hybrid map with water combat, the only map that has water combat. Also, let's see. Indianapolis Buffalo is the first playoff game in NFL, by the way. I'm a little bit sad about that because I'm curious on how that goes. I'm actually tempted to just open that on my other monitor and, you know, just watch NFL by casting games. That would be weird, but it's playoffs, come on. Tomorrow, 4:40 Eastern. We should... depends on tomorrow's schedule if we are actually done by the Saints game tomorrow. Let's hope that we'll be done. Because I want to watch the Saints game live. Hey, Farland Mitch, thank you for joining us today. Welcome. We're gonna have game number 40 over here. Are you American? Nope. But I watch NFL. Because why not, right? So, yeah, I think I will actually open up the game on my other monitor. Anyways, Jordan, left side, playing Byzantines in red. Right side is a Classicpro, playing as Portuguese in blue. Surprising. Both players are going galleys, but this is not something I like from Jordan. Hasn't he seen the other games here on this map? You don't really go for fire galleys on this map. Why? Because you have narrow choke points by these reeds, by these rocks. And on this map, galleys are actually better. In fact, Saracens is probably the best civ to play with on this map because you have faster firing galleys. But Saracens was used up by Classicpro before, so he's going Portuguese more HP. Jordan's fire galleys are actually reasonable from the aspect that, hey, they are Byzantine fire galleys, and they attack faster. But, first of all, the galleys kill the fishing ships faster than fire galleys do, and more importantly, you can get demos to kill the fire galleys, whereas demos won't kill the galleys. So, let's see what we can actually see here. We might have all the fishing eco cleaned up by both players, and we have a third dock coming in for both players. But look at that. It's a faster cleanup here from Classicpro. In fact, Classicpro could find that dock and deny it if Jordan gets unlucky. I don't like Jordan's play here. If Classicpro gets to like 4 or 5 galleys here, and you can use these narrow choke points, he's gonna be clapping. And also, I think that Classicpro could actually consider adding 1 demo, just to make sure that, you know, Jordan isn't going to be playing that ballsy. But yeah, Portuguese galleys with the extra HP, and these are the narrow choke points that you have to use if you are Classicpro. Classicpro managed to preserve 2 of his fishing ships, Jordan has 2 as well, and we have a sneaky villager here from Jordan. That sneaky villager is preparing something, and Classicpro might spot it. Jordan turns back just in time. So many of those galleys are relatively weak, but they are actually taking rather cost-efficient engagements, and you can just fall back home and repair some of those galleys, which is a huge advantage over here. I would say one of the galleys goes down. There is a sneaky villager from Jordan, but the bear is going to think otherwise, so Jordan's gonna have to say bear with me, because, well, guess what? That bear is going to try and kill the lady. Anyways, a demo could really be needed here by Classicpro. I don't like Jordan's fire galley play, but I think that Classicpro needs some demos to give him some little bit more safety. But you see, there is so many galleys, and these obstacles are making life hard for fire galleys. And I just want to give a quick shout out to Krzini, who is the creator of this map, because this is pretty much changing the water meta. Ever since, well, for quite a while, fire galleys were the dominant units on water, but adding this thing over here, the implementation of these water obstacles, allows you to actually play better galleys, and this usually turns into a galley micro. So, I'm somewhat surprised that Jordan goes for fire galleys here. Byzantine is understandable because your fire galleys are strong, but it's more like the conceptual mistake of going fire galleys against actual galleys. Now, Jordan, I think, is idling his TC so he can click up to Castle Age, and he's already preparing a barracks over here on the front line, but that's a lot of TC idle time by Jordan. He's going up to Castle Age first. This could be troublesome, though, for Classicpro. Classicpro is very, very far away from Castle Age. Jordan did sell his stone. Classicpro will need to realize, hey, I need to sell my own stone as well. He probably understands that, okay, Jordan is losing water, so there's a chance he's gonna start pushing me. And Jordan, let's see if he's gonna try sneaking past these villagers. I don't think he can, and I don't think that he's gonna have anything to push with, although it could be spear and skirm already. Now, Jordan is waiting for Fireship to kick in, and Fireship will actually clap the galleys here. So, what Classicpro needs to focus on is trying to kill one dock and forcing the fire galleys out here. But that late Castle Age from Classicpro could cost him the game here. A late Castle Age could really cost him the game, especially considering that he's unaware of that archer range. He could get pushed by like 3 crossbows and a bunch of fire ships and lose everything that he has. Market is up. No stone selling right now for Classicpro. It doesn't seem like he prepared that deep strategies for this one. He had the galley play, which is the right idea to do here, but he needs to sell that stone and go up. He needs to sell that stone and go up. That's a huge mistake from Jordan, showing that spearman. Now Classicpro knows there is a land aggression coming his way, and yeah, this is exactly what Classicpro has to do. Just ungarrison one of those docks by setting it ablaze, and then you can finish off 3 fire galleys before they upgrade to war galley, or, well, before they upgrade to fire ship. That's something. Other thing that Jordan or Classicpro could do is make 1 or 2 demos right now, because demos will be able to keep away the fire ships for a brief moment. Apparently Classicpro is getting quite a lot of fish out, but still not selling his stone, which is an enormous mistake. This map, you always sell your stone to go up. Like all of it. Because you want to make sure that you don't fall behind in Castle Age times, basically. That being said, War Galley isn't in here yet. Classicpro making an enormous mistake. That's a huge mistake, bumping into those fire galleys over there. I'm not sure why he actually stopped attacking that dock either. And this is the problem. Fire ships clap galleys. This game might be over, and it's going to be over because Classicpro didn't sell his stone in time. He's gonna get cornered in here, and yes, there should be demos. These are supposed to be demos right now. You need something that scares away those fire galleys. That's the only way you actually survive here. That's really the only way. Siege Workshop is in here, and honestly, I don't think that Jordan played this one perfectly. I don't like the fire galley play, no matter what. If it's Byzantines, if it's not, it doesn't matter. Because if Classicpro actually had a good castlage time, these war galleys would have clapped this one. This is Jordan playing it badly and Classicpro playing it even worse type of a scenario. I'm trying not to be mean to players, but this is a bad strategy from Jordan, and a better player is going to punish him for that. And Classicpro, he wasn't really prepared for this map. The thing is that this game is over now. Jordan has water control, Jordan has a 4 villagers deficit, but he has land aggression. I would be massively surprised if Classicpro could come back into this one. Because he's gonna lose water, and this is a signal for Jordan to start making fishing ships, and the fish boom is going to finish off the game. And Classicpro, the fact that he didn't sell his stone in time is going to cost him a lot. Like, that's basically something that crippled his castle age. He's just reaching castle age. That's an awfully late castle age on this map. Especially against Byzantines. And I think the key is that he saw the fire galleys inside, and you should know that the only way that your opponent is going to do that, like keep multiple fire galleys inside docks, is if he's trying to go up to castle age and beat you with better units. Basically. And there's a knight coming out here, and one thing that Jordan is not doing is adding monks, and this means that 1 or 2 knights could be extremely devastating against the mangonels. So, like, Classicpro could technically defend against this one. The 4th villager might even go down as well because that's a weak villager. Yeah, I think that Classicpro should just finish off the whale here. But yeah, that's a cleanup. But Jordan is gonna start going back to water, and for whatever reason he has a siege workshop back at home. I have no idea why. Maybe he's afraid of an archer push from Classicpro. That's the only thing I can imagine. But he's 2 TCs and he's gonna have a fish boom, and Classicpro is going to play just 1 TC. That being said, if Jordan cannot capitalize much on the fishing eco, and right now he doesn't seem like he's capitalizing much, he has 1 fishing ship out and the second one is just coming in, maybe Classicpro can outboom him on land, and Classicpro is gonna go 3 TCs. This is a ballsy TC here, not gonna lie, like capital ballsy here. Jordan trying to wall his base off, a little bit ambitious to wall all the way through here, and Classicpro could just run past here and get that villager for himself. Jordan will be 3 TCs as well. And yeah, I expected that TC to be denied with those crossbows out there. One thing that Jordan could do is, like, he could add 1 or 2 war galleys here. He's got fletching, he's got the war galley upgrade. He can get a few war galleys on the shoreline and do some harassment with them. Might be worth it for him. Anyways, defensive monastery up by Jordan. He's got a considerable score lead right now. There's a TC denied over here as well. Just by 4 crossbows, these guys do not have Botkin. By the way, the 1 knight goes down to TC fire, 0 upgrade on these guys. Jordan shouldn't be losing this game. So, at this point, Jordan can just go full fish boom. He even has 3 TCs. Stonewall fish boom, GG basically. Especially considering he's Byzantines, so he can actually go into Imperial rather fast as well and get Arbalasts out quite fast. So, I think that Jordan is supposed to be winning this game here quite heavily, because he has every advantage that he wants to have. First voyager numbers, just an advantage of 2 for Classicpro. But Classicpro, I think he's preparing a castle drop. He could be preparing a castle drop and Orgengan's mangonels. That could be devastating because Jordan's left side is wide open and this knight could keep it open. And Classicpro could pull the villagers, drop a castle here somewhere on stone, gold, and farms. It's not like Jordan can stop that. And then Orgengans and mangonels would actually make life hard for Jordan. Maybe I spoke too soon and this game isn't over completely. Jordan 3 villagers lead only. That's actually key because like Jordan is slowly adding fish, but it's not like Jordan is gaining much from the fishing eco. And Classic Pro has the stone. So what next? The real question is where he's gonna drop that castle at. Knight. Oh, that's bad for Classic Pro. It's very, very bad. That losing that knight hurts so much. And here comes a Classic Pro with what is gonna be a castle drop somewhere around over here. I was right about that. Anyways, knights here do not really have any extra armor, but these crossbows are without bodkin, so knights should be able to clean this one up without any problems. And really, Jordan has just a villager lead of 4, so he isn't really having that big of a lead from the water. And remember that Portuguese units actually cost less gold, whereas Byzantines don't get any equal benefits from their save. The only thing that they would get here is being able to click up to Imperial a little bit cheaper, but that's not really a thing right now. And it looks like we have a villager converted. He is going to spot the villagers with the monk, indeed, and this is smart. This is smart from Jordan. He's putting all the boys and girls. And, yes, indeed. Classic Pro is gonna have to fall back here. Beautiful. Beautiful competitive Age of Empires game, by the way, over here. Just, you know, villagers chasing villagers. This is actually better for Classic Pro because he's got like 8 villagers here and Jordan had like 10 idle. So it actually did benefit Classic Pro. These knights aren't actually killing this villager. Jordan had some quick walls. But Classic Pro is cleaning this one up slow and steady. And what did Classic Pro do with some of the stone that he has had? He's dropping a castle here. So he might actually want to redock. Because a castle like this actually is reasonable for redocking. Fire galleys burning these villagers. You can safely say that the floor is lava. But Jordan, this is a bit of an overcommitment with these wheels. He's gonna bump into a castle here in a matter of seconds. And Classic Pro is going to prepare for a long game here. By long, I mean very long. Stonewalling this off, and Classic Pro actually sets a trap for Jordan. So, at the end of the day, Classic Pro got one of his wheels converted, but Jordan lost one. So, I guess it's even story. By the way, Jordan's relic count is actually pretty decent. He's got 2 garrisoned, bringing in a 3rd one. And 2 relics are on the side of Classic Pro, so it's going to be 3 against 2. And here come the organ guns. Classic Pro's eco is quite unbalanced right now, and there is a knight. I don't know where this knight came from. It might be the knight that was converted over here. And that's gonna kill Classic Pro's Rolling Wheel, which will make it pretty annoying for Classic Pro. In fact, Jordan is gonna steal that relic, and I think Jordan will try to set up a forward base here with archer ranges, and then go Bombard Cannon and Arbalest. Because he's going into Imperial, Bodkin Arrow is a clear sign that it's going to be Bombard Cannon Arb. Classic Pro, on the other hand, trying to pull some Viper Master Pizzas and getting the organ guns out. The thing is that we have some camos here for Jordan, so he was expecting knights, but it's actually organ guns over here. Well, this is gonna be cleaned up. This is not really a nice castle spot for Classic Pro. This would have been a much better castle spot for him, but I guess this is safer to go up. And Classic Pro also on the way towards Imperial, something that we rarely see on this map. Oftentimes it just ends in Castle Age by one player either losing water and giving up, or the other player just getting pushed on land and then dying. So, organ guns, not really the best trade ever for Jordan, but this is a trade that he has to make because he needs to make sure that these walls go up, and boy, they will. So Classic Pro's base is wide open. Jordan is stonewalled on both sides, so he's super duper mega safe right now. Why is it lagging so much? Give me a moment. I will be trying to fix lag. Alright. So, should be better now, right? Yeah, it's better. Sometimes when I have a lot of tabs open on Google Chrome, it actually starts making my game lag. Well, it probably makes my entire computer lag because it's streaming and it's a game. And it's also Chrome with a bunch of tabs, but oftentimes because of brackets I have to do that. Anyways, organ guns are technically eaten by Orblasts, so this is something that Classicpro is going to struggle against, to be honest. And Jordan also has water control, so he could technically get Cannon Galleon and start shelling that castle. Same thing for that castle. I like that he's adding War Galleys. This is exactly what you want to do. Just harass the shoreline as much as possible. And, well, organ guns soon will bump into the forward base of Jordan here. Jordan trying to get a castle up. Arbalest in a matter of moments. So, Classicpro is going to see, hey, there's Arbs against me. And, boy, he is right. So, well, these camos will actually be destroyed by the organ guns here. Bracer for Classicpro makes me believe that he's either going for his own Arbs or he's going for skirms. Or is just for the range of the castle. But there's a university as well, so I assume that he wants to go for some sort of range units like skirms or Arbs himself. The camos here got destroyed pretty hard, and organ gun skirm could be something to consider. Jordan could go onager against that, but it kind of seems like we are gonna have... How did these guys get in here? How? They just walked into Classicpro's base and Fatorias. Look at that. I mean, the thing is that Fatorias here might make some sense for a very long game. The problem is that the game actually has a timer on it. In 560 years, the player with the higher score is going to win. And right now that's Jordan. So it's not like you can just sit back and chill until your opponent runs out of resources. Like, adding 1 or 2 Fatorias actually helps, but especially if your army doesn't take a lot of population. But it's not like this is going to give an insane boost to your eco. And the problem is that you are forced to push here. You can't just sit back behind stone walls and wait, because if the countdown runs out, the player with more score is going to win. How much score does Fatoria give? I am not 100% sure, probably not a lot. It probably just gives you score for actually getting resources from it. So it is going to give you an economical score. Anyways, there is traps coming out here for Jordan. Pushing away Jordan from this position is going to be awfully hard, because Jordan's got Byzantine Castle, so it's 7,000 HP to deal with. And there is actually Galleon for Jordan. And I think the only reason why you would make Galleon here is if you actually want to make Cannon Galleon as well. Because these War Galleys are fine harassing the shoreline. If you want to make Cannon Galleon, it makes sense to go for the Galleon upgrade. And the thing is that there isn't really a huge amount of gold on this map. There is still quite a lot left. But if the game goes very, very long, this might actually be a reasonable play, like the Fatoria from Classicpro. He's going for Arquebus as the unique tech, and he's going full organ gun masterpiece. He's gonna have bombard cannons as well to deal with the trap. This bombard cannon apparently is having some seizures here. But the problem is that I think Mass Arbalest should be able to beat organ gun. Or can they? I already see how much trash talk Jordan would get from Viper if he actually lost to organ guns. Like, this would be a very, very... Oh, sneaky, sneaky villagers. Archer range is coming up here on the left side. Something that Classicpro is gonna be able to spot, but we'll see if he can react to it because he's too busy microing his stuff. And remember, Jordan can actually mix in Cannon Galleons to take down those shoreline castles. Apparently, Classicpro isn't noticing the archer range just yet on the left side. Villagers on the right will also get picked off by the Arbalasts, but that's a lot of organ guns. Now bombard cannons as well. Classicpro isn't making any traps. I think 1 or 2 traps could actually help here a little bit. Classicpro behind by 15 wheels, and there is going to be a push on the left side as well. Something that Classicpro isn't prepared for. He's sending in the organ guns now to deal with this. Once again, Arbalest, bombard cannon, or Arbalest here, alongside a few skirms, are trying to get through. Nice hit from Classicpro, though. Remember, those guys are pretty beastly. Arquebus, bombard cannons. And if you get elite organ gun, things could turn around here. Like, I think Jordan needs to get Cannon Galleon here, and the reason why is because he needs to take these castles down from the shoreline. That's even going to be pretty hard when the bombard cannons are around, but otherwise, I don't necessarily see Jordan winning. Like, I don't see Jordan being able to destroy this army of organ guns here. He might be able to, but I'm not 100% convinced anymore. And if you look at military numbers, it's 58 for Jordan, it's 37 for Classic Pro right now. Does Jordan have any hidden army here at the back? He's missing Hussar. But Hussar are missing Blast Furnace, I believe, for Byzantines. So it's not necessarily the greatest Hussars of all time. Bombard Cannon slowly shelling this castle here on the right side. Jordan is actually pop-capped in this one. And, well, it's 4 Bombard Cannons, so they will still be reasonable at dealing with a castle. Jordan repairs for a while. Jordan is floating 2k stone, so he can repair this one endlessly, pretty much. Anyways, Jordan's got some fishing eco working for him as well. A little bit of an overboom with 136 villagers. And it looks like Jordan is going to commit to this. Bombard Cannons still out there for Classic Pro, but the castle is still standing and it's killing quite a lot of Organ Guns. So this is a tricky micro. Nice hits over there from Classic Pro on top of the orbs. But here come the Hussar, and it's just a matter of overrunning these Organ Guns over here. Bombard Cannons aren't particularly great at dealing with orbs. They are decent, but not good enough. Like, it's actually cost efficient for Arblast to just run them down, like you see right now. Is Classic Pro going Bombard? Honestly, I don't know what Classic Pro is going for. He's cleaning up the left side. He might try to open up the front line over there. But I think Classic Pro would benefit massively from 2 or 3 traps here. He's got the heal. He can start trapping these buildings down, which would actually give him an insane edge. And yeah, I mean, Organ Gun production is important, but 2 or 3 traps could actually help you out quite a bit. Now, Jordan is heavy on skirms, and that's going to prompt Classic Pro to add Light Cav or Cavalier for himself. In this one, left side, Classic Pro trying to stonewall his base over there. There are quite a lot of Galleons on the lake for Jordan that aren't really doing anything, and I'm not sure why he upgraded them to Galleon, to be honest. Now, Bombard Cannons from Jordan getting some nice hits on top of the Organ Guns here. And in the meanwhile, Orbs getting cleaned up as well on the right side. This is still anyone's game, to be honest, but Jordan should be leading, to be honest. Anyways, this is actually a nice push over there, but this is already walled off. And let's see what the stables are gonna go for. Nothing just yet. Ballistics on the way for Classic Pro. He needs to make 1 or 2 traps here. And there is Cannon Galleon from Jordan. That's a good decision. Cannon Galleon can start shelling these buildings over here, especially the castles will be the important ones. And remember, look at this. The Galleons are now denying the walls. So what Classic Pro has to do is like wall like this and this. Otherwise, the Hussar will start running into his eco. I feel like Classic Pro isn't playing bad here, but Jordan is slowly going to grind him down with Hussar raids. The traps are down, castle is still standing for Classic Pro. He's got a bunch of stables that are getting upgrades in right now, but I mean, still no blacksmith upgrades for cavalry here, so that's going to take forever until Classic Pro actually gets any kind of army out in here. Left side, Hussar are slowly coming in. There is actually a hole over there as well. And that's going to be a problem for Classic Pro now. I'm not sure how Classic Pro is going to defend the left side. He's holding the right, but he's not pushing it, and he's losing the left. Here comes a forging for Classic Pro. He wants to get some cavalry out on the field, but he's getting overrun by superior numbers. And as I said, Organ Guns have mobility issues, and what's even more important is that Jordan could actually get some Cannon Galleons out. Indeed, here they come. So, castle still standing, but that's quite a lot of Bombard Cannons. 4 of the Bombard Cannons are shelling that castle. Left side, still no defense though from Classic Pro. There are quite a lot of stables, but there's nothing coming out of those right now. Right side, that is getting more and more dangerous for Jordan though, but Classic Pro needs to commit. He can't just sit back and chill. The score is just going down. Guard Tower on the way for Classic Pro, so indeed it will see Bombard Tower, but do you even need Guard Tower for Bombard Tower? You might need it, but I'm not sure about the prerequisites for Bombard Tower tech. Portuguese actually have very, very good Bombard Towers. But the problem is that Classic Pro doesn't really have stone either. So it's not like he's just gonna spam Bombard Towers. Hoardings even for Jordan. You're going to see a castle that has like 8,000 HP here. And I don't understand why we're not seeing a single trap from Classic Pro. The traps are just so much better at killing the castles than Bombard Cannons are. Just chemistry and Bombard Tower upgrade. Okay, then I don't know why Classic Pro is doing Guard Tower. I have no idea why. But here are the Cannon Galleons, and that's a difference maker for Jordan. And this is why on this map, you can't just play without the middle. And to some like to a certain extent, you can actually afford to lose the middle, but in very, very late game, this is what you're going to suffer from. Cannon Galleons, shelling all your buildings, and it's not like it's easy for Classicpro to deal with this one. In fact, Jordan is holding that castle 8,100 HP on that castle. Classicpro is dropping him with numbers. Classicpro put up a good fight, but I feel like the story starts to end over here, because now these Cannon Galleons will start shelling this castle. And in fact, those are elite Cannon Galleons, so they even outrange Bombard Cannons. Classicpro will try getting some kills on those Cannon Galleons with his Bombard Cannons, but I'm not sure if that's going to succeed. It appears that Classicpro actually cleans up the left side, but he has no siege to get through the walls, and we're going to see a pikeman coming in here, so pike and siege push on the left side from Jordan. Right side, I feel like Classicpro is getting slowly overrun over here. Like, especially look at this. Right now, Jordan is just diving in, trying to snipe the Bombard Cannons. Also, it's a beautiful coordination that he's bringing his own Bombard Cannons on this side and simultaneously pushing with the Cannon Galleon. This way, you can force Classicpro to like defend against the Cannon Galleon on this side, but then the Bombard Cannon can kill the Organ Guns. Anyways, Classicpro getting some more Organ Guns out to deal with the Pikeman. But once again, this is a game that's just not gonna end well for Classicpro. Like, the thing is that at this point I see no potential for him to push this one. And we might actually get close to a stage where Classicpro might even consider, hey, what if I just try to defend and try to get the higher score? I don't think players will be playing for that. In fact, they shouldn't. But it doesn't seem like Classicpro has a chance to win traditionally. And it's actually guard tower defense. Classicpro has a bunch of guard towers on this hill, don't ask me why. The good news about Faetorias is that Faetorias cannot be raided, so some of the eco for Jordan, or for Classicpro, is something that cannot be raided, but Jordan is slowly grinding down left side with Halberdiers, Rams, and Jordan gonna get a class up on the left side. Cannon Galleons have 15 range, in fact it's actually 17 with artillery. And Bombard Cannons only have 13. Now, the thing is that Jordan still loses those Cannon Galleons right now, but he's slowly getting grinded down. He's 175 population. I don't see Classicpro winning this. I feel like it was a crucial mistake not to sell the stone faster and go up to Castle Age to get your War Galleys in. If he does that, I feel like he would have won this game, or at least he would have had a massive edge over Jordan. So, I disagree with Jordan's strategy here about the fire ships. It worked out in this case, but against a higher level or stronger opponent, that might not work out well. And now it's just Classicpro slowly collapsing on the left side. Right side, he's still holding, but Jordan's got Bombard Cannon out there as well. And new Cannon Galleon could also arrive to shell the buildings. I could actually love to see a Cannon Galleon here to just start getting town center siege workshops. But it's siege rams. Soon they will start knocking on the doors of the Faetorias. Do you think once Classicpro made the first castle on the shoreline, he should have redogged? Maybe. Maybe. The problem is that redocking usually works with fire ships and not galleons. You need time to get galleons in, and I'm not sure if he could have actually done that before Jordan sees it. Maybe like redock, demos, and then war galleys. Maybe. But I feel like you shouldn't have lost the combat on the water in the first place with this build. Because the galleys are supposed to be superior, it's just the fact that you got beaten pretty hard into Castle Age. And you're not supposed to be beaten by that much. So, wasn't the best preparation for Classicpro for this map. He obviously prepared because he knew that Portuguese will be good here, he knew that galleys will be good here. But he didn't actually see the games where players are always selling their stone, because it's much more important to go up into Castle Age faster here on that pond fight. And now, slowly but surely, the Bombard Cannons of Classicpro are going down, but really the left side is what shows the outcome of this game. Slowly those Rams will eat up Classicpro, and Classicpro right now is at 160 pop, but that's very misleading because it's inflated by free Faetorias. Free Faetorias inflating the population of Classicpro immensely. And when those siege rams start knocking on the doors of those Faetorias, suddenly the population of Classicpro is going to drop just dramatically. Like, I don't know how many villagers Classic Pro has, but not an awful lot right now. And we're gonna have town patrol from Jordan, yay! The two castles here on this hill are still standing, so Classic Pro is doing a beautiful job holding this position, but the left side is completely collapsing, and once again the problem is that, okay, he's holding, but how long is he holding? If this was a standard random map tournament, I might maybe say, hey, if Jordan runs out of resources, the Faitorias might carry the game for Classic Pro. But that would require like 1 more hour of gameplay until that actually happens. That being said, the Faitorias are still standing, but I mean, Classic Pro isn't supposed to be winning this one. And I think the key is that, as I said, yes, he's going to hold, but how long is he going to hold? That's the question. Like, it doesn't matter that he's holding this if the game runs out in 280 years. Right now, Jordan could just sit back and chill, not do anything and win the game. Because he has a so big score lead. And if the timer runs out, players will win by score lead. Thumbbrain coming in here for Classic Pro, he's really not giving up. He's committed. But it would actually be one of the biggest miracles I have ever seen to come back into this one. He's trying to switch into Arbs. Jordan is gonna respond with the lead skirms like immediately, basically. That's a big flood of Halberdiers on the way. The Organgans are actually doing pretty decent against the Halberdier flood, but there is also going to be Rams to deal with. Right side, like if these castles go down, Classic Pro is done. So these castles basically are what kept keeping Classic Pro in the game. I think Vahi's managing his stuff on the left side. Now he's going to lose the right side, and really it's a matter of misplayed early Castle Age, or well, late Feudal to be precise, for Classic Pro. And that's basically what ends this here for him. He lost the water way too easily against the Fire Galley play. That shouldn't have happened. And now, I mean, Classic Pro is going to try and hold. But as I said, Jordan could just sit back at home and chill, and he would just win the game. And also, Jordan can take this hill now and fire down hills on top of those castles, which is an added benefit as well. This game is actually super, like, it's an interesting game, let's say. But it's more like one player refusing to give up rather than actually having a chance to win this game. Because I don't think that Classic Pro has a chance to win now. It's about he's holding but slowly getting pushed back. But more importantly, it's a matter of how is he going to counterattack? He's never going to counterattack this one. Unless Jordan runs out of resources, but that seems unlikely because Jordan has still a lot of map control. A lot more map control than Classic Pro does. I appreciate Classic Pro trying, but this game is over. Like, you see all this slaughter here on the right side. The only reason why Classic Pro is 160 pop is because he has like 4 Faitorias. And that inflates his pop crazily. But in reality, it's 50 villagers for Classic Pro. Yes, he has a few Faitorias, but Faitorias won't actually influence things by, like, very, very significantly. So 50 villas is still 50 villas against 116. And now Jordan's gonna start making trash. Byzantine is actually a good save for that, like this very, very late game trash and turtle forward type of a strategy. I mean, Classic Pro still believes in his Organ guns, but when the siege rams or traps start rolling with skirms, the Faitorias will be gone and suddenly he will find himself having 50 pop at overall. Oh man, like really, Classic Pro needs to clean up some of his gameplay, but he's going to be a good player. You see that there is potential in his gameplay, like the way he's executing the defense is nice. It's just a matter of this game is already lost. So this is a far too gone game to defend in, but really his micro and unit control was once again pretty outstanding. It's just a matter of a misplayed late Feudal Age, basically. So, crossbows with the hill. They do have bracer and chemistry, but no arbalest. But elite skirms will be happily killing them over here. Those are fully upgraded elite skirms over here from Jordan. And yeah, just more and more light cav raids. Jordan kind of struggles to finish this game off here, but it's just a matter of Classic Pro not giving up, to be honest. He's down to 34 villagers. He might actually lose all his villas here. Like right now, he's actually repairing the Faitorias. He's repairing Faitorias. Jordan floating 3,000 wood. At this point, I understand if he's stockpiling resources, but now Classicpro taps out. And with that, Jordan is gonna get into the next round to play against Bacti. And if he beats Bacti, he is going to potentially play against Slam in the decider game. That would be a crazy series. Good game from both players. I feel like Classicpro, if he has a little bit better decision making at the beginning of, or like late feudal, selling his stone a little bit earlier, this could have been a completely different game. Jordan, much better eco overall, but that is basically because Classicpro started losing villagers like this. That shouldn't have happened. Worth pointing out the relic gold. Jordan actually went for relics. Result is 4k gold in this one.